This is our fucking city.
He just shook up the world.
I don't even know where you're sitting at.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Ron Infante here with Taking This Sports. Don't forget, we're not only the guys that watch these sports, but we analyze them. So today, we're actually going to be covering the NBA 2019 signings and trades of this offseason so far. And man, has it been busy, but no team has been busier than the most hottest team in the NBA right now, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers with the LeBron James team. I say LeBron James because he gets what he wants. Yes, did he take 1 year off and not make the NBA Finals or the playoffs or anything like that? But he got what he wanted ultimately. He ended up getting a massive player in the offseason. We all know is Anthony Davis. Now he's a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, and now it seems like all the pieces are falling into place. There was one piece, however, that did not fall into place, but we will discuss a few chips that have fallen into the Lakers team, and now they look like a dead-on contender for the NBA Finals of next year. Watch out, Golden State, because I feel like there's a new man in town so far. Listen, a few of the guys that they have signed so far are DeMarcus Cousins and Rajon Rondo. Listen, it's like the New Orleans Pelicans started their own team in New Orleans, and now the former players, the superstars of that team, have now moved to the Los Angeles Lakers, being Rajon Rondo, DeMarcus Cousins, and Anthony Davis. They did great. They actually were ranked 12 in the NBA in offensive rating, and now they're combining with LeBron James. And you also have another crucial player that could be contributing off the bench. No, that will be contributing off the bench, and that's Danny Green, a player that just ended up winning an NBA championship with Kawhi Leonard in the Toronto Raptors, and now you have him signed for a few years. And you also have a man like Avery Bradley that has came out of the shadows to sign with this team. He did well with the Celtics. He did well with the Pistons, and now it's going to be a great asset coming off that bench. So ultimately, the Lakers have a solid starting lineup, and they're gaining a lot of depth with guys like McGee signing with that team, and you know, just veteran players all together. So at the end of the day, you got to think, who's the stronger franchise in LA right now between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Clippers? Well, we'll see, because the Clippers did a massive deal where they ended up getting Kawhi Leonard in free agency, right? We discussed it's a massive risk to have a 1 year rental. Toronto went for it. They ended up getting their first championship in franchise history. Everybody was happy. Drake was happy. But at the end of the day, they're not able to re-sign him. We've discussed this before, that 1 year rentals are extremely dangerous, and one man defied the odds. And that was Paul George, that re-signed with OKC. But who gets the last laugh now? Everybody who was against 1 year rentals, because look, he re-signed with OKC, and now what happened? He ends up in LA anyways. Yes, it wasn't the Lakers like he was planning on doing, but he goes back to Los Angeles, and he has a strong counterpart or strong partner on his side with Kawhi Leonard. And don't forget, Patrick Beverley there is also on that team. And you have Doc Rivers, a coach that has won an NBA title in 07-08. So that team, watch out for that team. Now, the question is, can the Clippers win their first championship there? I don't know, because like I said, the Los Angeles Lakers are the team that's making the most noise. They got the most depth so far. So I'll give the nod to the Los Angeles Lakers right now, but don't sleep on the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard has that magic. I don't know what it is. He had it with the Spurs, and then obviously he brought it with Toronto. So that boogeyman right there, not speaking of Boogie Cousins, remember he's a Laker. That boogeyman right there is going to make a lot of noise with the Clippers, and that defensive mind that they're going to bring is going to be exciting there, especially with Lou Williams coming off the bench. Kyle Kuzma, you got a lot to learn, because Lou Williams is not going to take you lightly. Now, moving forward, we're going to continue on with the West. There's a team that made an upgrade, I want to say, an upside, signing Hassan Whiteside, and that's the Trailblazers. The Portland Trailblazers end up signing this guy. Yes, we know that Cantor ended up leaving to the Boston Celtics, but you know what? Whiteside is a massive, massive upgrade for him at center. But you know what? The Lakers right now, the Clippers right now in Houston are saying, that's cute. 13 points per game, 11 rebounds for his career. Yeah, you know what? That doesn't show everything in the stat sheet. He is a massive player, but again, It's a Q signing. You know that the Lakers and Golden State right now are not licking their chops or looking at the Portland Trail Blazers as a team that's really going to strongly contend. So with that being said, we're actually going to take a break. But first, I want to discuss about the East. Who are the next East Kings now that Kawhi Leonard has left the East and rejoined the West? Hey guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell button for more notifications. So with that being said, I promised you guys that we were going to move on to the East. So I'm going to talk about a couple teams that can run the East now that Kawhi Leonard has chosen to go to the West. And it's, in my opinion, the 76ers, Milwaukee Bucks, the Celtics, and oh, wait a minute, the Miami Heat could be a team in contention, especially with Jimmy Butler going there, and now rumors about a possible player going there, a former MVP, and Russell Westbrook. Listen, Russell Westbrook, it might be a good idea for him to leave the West and go to the East. It seems like OKC is in a rebuild moment right now. Could you blame the guy if he goes to the East? No. Get a chance to win a championship, because in OKC it's not going to happen, especially with your workhorse Paul George leaving to the LA Clippers, as I was mentioning a second ago. Sorry guys, brain fart of the video like always. So with that being said, think about the odds of Russell Westbrook, what he would look like being in the East. I think it would go well matching up with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler runs the 2, sometimes the 3. And you know what? Miami needs a point guard. And also Pat Riley's one of those guys that likes to target superstars. So I think it would be a good fit for him to go with Miami. Would it be my choice? Probably not. I think the 2 teams that he should be on is actually not in the East. It would actually be in the West. And 2 teams that I'm going to mention right now are the San Antonio Spurs. Just picture it. Russell Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, and LaMarcus Aldridge in that San Antonio team with Popovich. That would be a great opportunity for that team to bounce back. They're always in the playoffs, no matter how bad their roster looks at the beginning of the season. They're one of those sleeper teams that just manage to win championships all the time. That team knows how to win. So I think Russell Westbrook, with his triple doubles and his MVP candidate opportunities, would do a very, very good thing for that team. Another team that would be interesting to see would actually be the Houston Rockets. Reason being is because they already talked about it. I know Chris Paul runs the 1, and Russell Westbrook is a ball-dominant point guard as well. But I really think that Russell Westbrook, being in a solid team like that, could actually play the 2. So imagine Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, and then you also have James Harden there. Would they win a championship in the West? Probably not. The chances are slim now that all these teams are racking up in the West. But it would be very, very entertaining to see those 3 guys trying to go at it against other teams. And remember, at the end of the day, OKC is trying to rebuild. So they have plenty of trade assets. Yeah, they're not going to trade Chris Paul or Harden, but there's plenty of talent on that Houston Rockets team to be able to get a guy like Russell Westbrook. There's a certain team that I think would be the best fit for somebody like Westbrook. Westbrook is that guy that he's just a highlight reel altogether. And what better place to put him in than a city like New York, right? There's a lot of New York Knicks fans that are talking right now like, hey, why don't we go for this guy? I just finished talking about assets, and that's why I wanted to bring it up now. New York Knicks fans, I'm sorry to say, you guys are not going to end up with Russell Westbrook because you guys don't have enough assets to help OKC rebuild now. So that's why I think that Russell Westbrook, if he doesn't end up in those 2 teams, will end up in the Miami Heat. Now, the question is that I brought up at the midpoint is who is going to be the Kings of the East? Now that Milwaukee has both of the Antetokounmpo brothers and they re-signed a couple key players, where does that leave the Milwaukee Bucks? Can they be number 1 again in the East? Maybe, sure. But it's going to be really difficult with the 76ers starting lineup. However, here's the problem with the 76ers. Yes, they got Horford. Yes, they signed Ben Simmons to a new contract. Yes, they still got Joel Embiid. Yes, they re-signed Tobias Harris, right? They have a nasty starting 5. However, where is their bench? You got a man like J.J. Redick that was a key player off the bench. When they weren't scoring, when they were going on droughts, when teams were going on 10-0 runs, who came off the bench and just gave them a spark that they needed? The veteran and J.J. Redick. Now that he's gone, you're going to need to look for a player that can produce the same amount of points or same amount of energy or just quick points altogether, a clutch player. And there's no better clutch player that you could get for cheap than Kyle Korver. The Phoenix Suns ended up releasing Kyle Korver, and I think instead of allowing any LA team to pick up Corver, which I know that they're looking to charge for. I think the best thing for the 76ers would actually be to go for Corver because they do have a similar style. Corver is a sharpshooter from the three-point lines, just like JJ Redick. He does well off the pick and rolls with shooting the threes, and then is nasty on the free throw line. So if there's a man that could replace JJ Redick, there really isn't a man. But for the right price and somebody coming off the bench, I think Kyle Korver is the best fit for the 76ers. Now, like I said, another team that will be a surprise to a lot of fans actually is going to be the Boston Celtics. Don't sleep on that Celtics team because the Boston Celtics actually do their best when the pressure is off. There was way too much pressure on that team last year. What did they prove for them to be claimed as the best team in the East? Well, yeah, they were one game away from making it to the NBA Finals, and obviously we know the story with LeBron James running the East. However, they didn't show it as a core, right? Kyrie Irving was on that free agency line. You didn't know what you were going to get out of Gordon Hayward. Now the team is completely different. You got Kemba Walker. Gordon Hayward, I think, is going to be the key of this team. If we could have, I'm not even going to say a smidge. We need Gordon Hayward to be the guy that we signed when he was a free agent, when he scored the most points that he had in his career with the Utah Jazz, when he was a starter and killing it and made the playoffs and pretty much ran that team in Utah. That's the guy that the Celtics are going to need in order to really make a push, especially since you lost your leader. And not Kyrie Irving, he was not the leader of that team. It was actually Al Horford. That is the biggest piece that you could lose. And it hurts a lot of Celtics fans. Man, I know it hurts me. So you have a lot of young core on that team. Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart. It just goes on and on. You got Cancer. Taco, we'll slow on Taco. I know everybody wants to see the freak, dunk on people, get rebounds over everybody. But can his talent really transpire in the NBA? We don't know. We'll have to see, right? But for now, I think the Celtics could actually hold their own. And, with Milwaukee losing a few important chips on that team, there's no guarantee that team is going to come out the same. There's only so many times you can hit a peak before you go down, right? Because once you get to a peak, there's only one direction you could go. So I think that's the unfortunate news for the Milwaukee Bucks. So like I said, in my opinion, if there's going to be kings of the of the East in the NBA, it's going to be the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics. Now, the biggest question I have is, what in the world is Amari Stoudemire and Monte Ellis doing hosting private practices for teams? There was 12 teams that were interested in seeing these guys perform. Last time that we saw Monte Ellis was years ago. It's like seeing Delonte West coming back to the NBA. I didn't think that Monte Ellis had it in him to be back in the NBA. Stoudemire was still doing his thing in the deep East Coast, right? So maybe he'll be able to, play again in the NBA. But I think those guys like that, big name guys that are old veterans that are probably not going to get a lot are going to end up with a team like the Clippers, like I said. And I keep mentioning them because you know how it is nowadays. It's not about the money. It's not about legacy. It's really about power teams. And then the power teams ultimately create the legacy if you want to go there. But that's why I think that those players are ultimately looking at teams in the West, or specifically teams that are going to win championships. Why else would they waste their time in trying to regain the fans in the NBA right now? That's a question that you guys are going to have to answer because I don't have an answer to it. So with that being said, don't forget, guys, we're not only the guys that watch these sports, we analyze them. Here with your boy, Raul Infante. I hope you guys enjoy your night.